I don't give a fuck if you sold all the crack. You should not be in jail for no fucking 40 years behind that shit.
40 years is kind of crazy. We lie.
Yeah, I think the most you should do behind the drug offense is like 15. Like that's the max. You know what I mean? Because like,
Especially when there's people in there that's like done real physical
and
harm to humans, bro.
To me, the biggest reason that I say that is like most crime. Nobody asks to have certain crimes committed against them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like nobody asks you to commit fraud and to, you know what I mean? Like, yes, was it stupid of them to tap in when you said if you got PNC, tap in? Absolutely. But they weren't asking to be defrauded. You know what I mean? But like with drug offenses, it's like, I get it. Addiction is a disease. It's like something that but you know what I mean? Like there was a customer there. Like, you know, that wasn't the same type of situation. But that's neither here nor there. What's up, y'all? It's your favorite hour of the week with the pod that wants to get you paid facts over acts. We got the master mixer master Josh Guyton in the building.
That is I.
We got the money man, the man of the plan, Chris Allen in the building.
Right here.
And then you got the little old MC, that's me, Kenton Gibbs. Now, fellas, we are still sticking to the script of having questions start the show off. And so we did not get a full complement of questions to do solely viewer questions, but we are going to start off with some viewer questions. Josh, go for it.
All right, first question. What are our honest thoughts on Avatar: The Last Airbender, the new live action television show?
First thing first, I haven't seen it yet.
Neither have I.
I got to catch up this week, but I have not seen it.
I got too many shows to watch. It's gonna be a minute for me, bro.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna binge that in the next couple of days before the finales of Love Is Blind drops. That's my plan there.
Yeah. I might add it to the docket. I gotta finish Gen V. I just started Gen V. I was behind on my other shows.
You just started Gen V?
Yeah, I literally just finished the first episode before we started the pod.
Oh, I ain't gonna say nothing there. Oh boy, you're
they cooking though. They cooking though, which is why.
What Gen V come on?
Prime.
That's on the Prime Video.
Prime.
Yeah, it's a spinoff of the Boys. So the Boys, they're all superheroes with Compound V and them, all that good stuff. The Gen V is like the college that all the superheroes go to before they go into the world to become superheroes. Also, I'm really wondering, like, yes, I get it. These superheroes aren't actually superheroes for like the Boys and all that. But how come none of them were ever like, man, I'm gonna be a villain? What are you gonna do?
True, yeah.
What are you gonna do? Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh,
I mean, they got villainous ways. Like Homelander is technically a villain.
But that's my point. Like, he presents to the world as a hero, though.
Right.
Like, why is there not any Lex Luthor style? Like, actually, I'm bigger than y'all. I'm stronger than y'all. I'm faster than y'all. I'm gonna just hurt people and take money. You know, that's what I'm gonna do. But I digress. Chris, give us your thoughts on The Last Airbender.
I watched it just off the principality. You know, that's probably the best cartoon ever. Like, we could all say Avatar: The Last Airbender, the animated version, was probably the best cartoon ever. Like, I can't name one better.
Yeah.
But the live action one, I mean, it was like what you expect from live action. It was mid. It had its good moment. Like
I've heard some good reviews.
Yeah, the first half of it was smooth, but like it's kind of cringy seeing like how they force you to like connect back to the old Avatar, because the old Avatar was always exciting. It's a lot of slow periods. They storytelling is really accelerated because it's live action. I don't know. I'd look deeper into it. I mean, I give it a 6.5, 7 out of 10 if I had to rate it. It's decent though. It's not horrible.
Fair enough. Alrighty. Any other questions, Josh?
Regarding Avatar: The Last Airbender, what is the strongest versus the weakest bending form?
Whew. I mean, it depends on what you're looking at in terms of strongest versus weakest. Because to me, if you're talking about like which is the strongest versus weakest in terms of battle, that's a very different question than which is the strongest versus weakness in terms of usefulness. In terms of battle, I would say that fire is probably the weakest by a good bit. But in terms of usefulness, fire has a lot more useful capabilities than like people think it does.
Yeah.
Like it has so many more. Like it's so confusing to me to hear people be like, oh, like you can't use fire for anything but attacking and all that. And I'm like, y'all do know that like lava bending was a thing, and you know, if that's a thing, then maybe, just maybe, hear me out here. You could manipulate the combustion of different things, and if you can manipulate combustion, we got somebody on this show who works in the car industry. That's pretty much the whole deal. You won. You did your thing. You did the big one there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I never got to buy gas again. Why not? I have a person to let off combustion in my engine. Like, that's, you know, I'm just saying. But, you know. Anywho, in terms of like, but in terms of which one is the strongest in battle, I'd probably say either air or water. And yeah, like anything where you can like distort another human being, like that blood bending or taking the air out of a human, you won.
My question for you is, if air's so strong, I know they was a peaceful people, why all of them get cooked?
What? That's what I was about to say, guys. I knew he was here with that. I knew he was here with that.
And this is why.
When has air took over the world? When?
Because they didn't want to. And not only that, the Fire Nation had to be, they literally needed the steroids that were the eclipses that made them stronger to do it. They waited until the eclipse hit to go attack them because they knew 1 for 1, pound for pound, man for man, they wasn't going to win. They wasn't going, what?
No, Gibbs. What you're doing is you're making something that was a strategic decision be diminished on a resume. That was strategic. Why would we not go full force and dominate the world on the day where we're the strongest? Why would we not?
I'm not disagreeing with that, but what I'm saying is, if you're talking, okay, which ones are the strongest in battle during Sozin's Comet or during when you're looking at like, oh, the eclipses are happening and we're at our strongest, then yes, that's a different story. But that tells you how weak their bending was. They needed a boost to even get to that level.
Okay. If Aang didn't go ballistic at the water, when they finally got to the water temple with a full moon, when the waterbenders at their best, if Aang didn't go ballistic, the Fire Nation they took the moon. They literally took the moon. It wasn't until Aang went nuts when they were at their best. When they were at their best, Gibbs.
So let me ask you this. Where were the bloodbenders during that time? I don't want to hear that. Who was bending blood when that was happening? Because guess what? You know the best that the Fire Nation can do without enhancements? Little lightning. That's the best that they got for you. But everybody else. Oh, and you do know, not only could they blood bend during full moons, which a lot of them could do because the moon exacerbated their power, there are also these things called light blood benders, which means they can do it during the day. At any moment, they can just, oh, I don't like the way Chris is moving right now. Let me go ahead and string him up like a puppet. Like, come on, dog. You're not, the Fire Nation not touching you.
Hey, Gibbs. I ain't never heard nobody say the Water Nation is coming. The Water Nation is coming. The Air Nation. I ain't never heard nobody say none of that. When Depot was on Friday, he the only one everybody had to hide their jewelry from on Friday, Gibbs. So tell me when somebody was scared or somebody been in some water or some blood. Tell me when.
Let me explain something to you, Chris. Just because people choose not to exercise their most extreme level of violence on others doesn't mean it does not exist. For example, we saw what Germany could do when they decided to work their best of powers against another group of people. We saw what happened. Imagine, if you will, the U.S. did that exact same thing. Like they were determined to say, we don't want those people on Earth anymore. There wouldn't be none left.
But at the same time, Germany did that. When America turned up, you saw who won.
But that's my point.
The airbenders ain't do that.
Because they didn't have a strategic advantage that was like, oh, we have the flying ogre comet where all of us gain super strength. If that was the case, we would be cooked. we would all be speaking German right now. What are we
Sound
doing? We'd all be
alarm,
wearing
Fire
Lederhosen.
Nation outside. Sound alarm, Fire Nation outside. Everybody be scared. Everybody be scared.
Man,
That's
listen,
all I was
listen. All I got for you is this, okay? Again, I agree that fire is, all of them are strong because they're bending and all that good stuff. Nobody, and I mean nobody. If you really want to get into it, some of like the greatest like mutants or superheroes, supervillains of all time, you could like reduce their powers to bending and like think about it like that. What was Magneto but a really strong earthbender?
Yeah.
Because remember, metal bending was something that Toph invented, and when they advanced to Katara, that was a thing that multiple people had the ability to do. You know, I'm just saying. Again, the Fire Nation is lucky that nobody had that same desire to conquer the world that they did. I
mean, if we take it in terms of sports, that's why they say Kobe and Jordan are over LeBron because of the mentality. I mean, that's why they say that. Now, I think LeBron is better because of body of work, and I think LeBron is better because he's longevity. Longevity is a key argument here. But mentality is why a lot of people on this earth say Jordan and Kobe are better.
Again, so y'all both agree that fire is the strongest type of bending, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying water. I don't think it's air.
So you sat here and
I don't think it's air. I started this argument by saying why did the air get cooked?
Water. I said it's air or water. It's one of those two. Because water is crazy.
You gotta pick one, Gibbs. You gotta pick one. You can't say 2 out of the 4. I got 2 of the 4, and it's one of them. You gotta pick one.
If I had to go with one, I'm gonna go air because you can suck the breath out of somebody's body like that. You can't beat that. You can't beat that with a stick. Like when the evil airbender took the Queen of Ba Sing Se's air from her body and created a vortex and suffocated her with the air from her own body. You can't beat that, bro. You can't beat. And the fun fact about it is that wasn't like some special ability that none of them had. Because remember, when Aang was mad and he went Avatar mode, he didn't even use his other bending. He just used his air bending, which he was born or which he was going to have regardless of whether or not he was an Avatar, and was like, yeah, I'm going to kill everybody here. And they almost died. Everybody in that place almost died after they took Appa. Everybody.
True.
So
he's the Avatar. What are we doing here?
He a foot soldier, airbender.
He got the power of 1,000 benders.
We didn't see the foot soldier airbenders throughout the series until
they got killed.
Because somebody else took it. Chris, if somebody snuck up on you while you were asleep. And took you out. If somebody came F in at your crib while you were asleep, do that mean they got better hands than you? No, that's not how it works.
You can't sneak up and kill 100,000 people.
You ain't sneaking up and give me hands.
They gotta throw hands at some point.
It wasn't that many air nomads to begin with. It wasn't that
True.
many to begin with. They snuck up on them when the timing was perfect for them, when they were at their strongest, and they did what they had to do. I don't see how we doing this.
Did they ever explain why it wasn't that many air nomads?
They didn't. They did. I'm sure they did in the comic books, but I never read the comic.
Do you know why?
Why?
Probably because they was getting cooked because they air nomads.
The air nomads were a peaceful tribe of people. They didn't want to bother nobody. They was chilling up in the sky. Not harassing nobody. Yeah. And then the Fire Nation came and was like, oh, we got our superpower deal right now, so we gonna take care of them. And y'all boys are really sitting here talking about, oh, this group that needs a comment or an eclipse to be their strongest, best selves is better than everybody else.
We gotta keep going, but Giz, I'm gonna put this out there. Yo, Avatar, the Airbender, went and hid for 100 years after Fire Nation came to his crib.
He was a baby.
You just said somebody come in my crib and gave me a hand, snuck me. I ain't sleeping till I find him. Or whoever it is walking my crib.
You're speaking as 27-year-old Chris Allen.
I don't care.
10-year-old Chris Allen is not. You not coming like that. I'm sorry to tell you. You know what? Y'all see, y'all finna piss me off. Especially Josh, because you know the truth. You know the truth. Chris, I'm not surprised by Chris being a Midas right type of guy. Not surprised by that. But you, Josh, for you to sit here, see, beige bandits stick together. They jumping me. I need a Tyler Perry villain to come help me out on this show. Because these beige bandits are jumping me. But now, we've got our final question. Oh, wait, Josh, do we have any more questions?
Yeah. Who wins the NFL draft?
Who wins the NFL draft? I know it won't be the Bears, even though they got the number 1 and number 9 overall pick. I just know they're going to find a way to fumble.
Free the Bears.
I'm real quick. I'm going with the Chargers, and here's the reason why.
Okay.
All of the projections, even though I disagree with it, all of the projections saying the first 4 picks in the draft are going to be quarterbacks. I think all 4 of those quarterbacks are going to be mid at best. I don't think you're getting a generational talent out of those top 4 picks.
I disagree, but we're going to see. I don't think all 4 are going to be generational, though. I do agree with that part. I don't think all 4 are generational.
I don't think you get 1 out of those 4.
Really?
Yeah, I don't.
You're not sold on Caleb?
I'm not at the next level. I mean, I know we have seen situations to where undersized quarterbacks have performed, but it's far and few between.
I think
we saw that man get pressure put on him in college, and he didn't take the pressure well.
So, and here's my thing about Caleb. He has the stuff that you can't coach. And when you have a guy that has all the stuff you can't coach, all you need at that point is a good coach to coach it into. Like, oh, he can't get rid of the ball in rhythm. No. He can. He just chooses not to. If you can throw the ball 50 yards downfield on a frozen rope, right? You can make a 10-yard pass on a 3-step, boom, it got to be out. You can do that. You're just choosing to not do that. Like, he can process information. We've seen him, when plays are open, hit it right away. It's just he has a tendency to hold on to it too long. But I feel you. So why do you think the Chargers win it?
Just because, one, they desperately need some help at receiver, and I think out of those first 4 quarterbacks, Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be their first pick, which I think he will be a generational talent at the wide receiver position.
That's fair. He gonna be stunning like his daddy in the future. I see. Chris, who you got winning the draft?
Y'all gonna hate my answer. Y'all really are. And I didn't look at the draft picks. Don't know where they drafted that, but I ain't gonna lie to y'all. It's up for them Green Bay Packers, bro. They got a young team that
Ooh.
could be scary.
Boo.
They could be scary. They could be scary.
Tomato.
Not to mention, they got a playoff win under their belt now. I feel like anything they add to this core, another young player ain't gonna do nothing but enhance them. And there's a lot of good athletes. I think they need some athletes on the Packers right now. Like, they don't have a Clay Matthews like they used to. That was a freak athlete. You know, I think they need some athletes. And there's some athletes in this draft. So I think the Packers end up winning this draft.
Well, just to be the anti-Chris guy on the show, y'all already know who I got. The same guy who rebuilt the team in 2.5 years through the draft. What? Listen,
I mean, that's my second team. That's another young team.
Yeah.
In Holmes, we trust. One of the only GMs to have, 3 or 4 picks in the top 100? Man, that boy finna get in the kitchen. Remember last year when everybody was swearing up and down, positional value, you can't draft Jameer Gibbs. It just doesn't make sense. Now look at you. Now look at what he did. Look at what he did compared to Bijan Robinson with not nearly the same amount of touches. Things that make you go,
No, it's still early for Bijan, though. Bijan got a lot of upside, though. He got a lot of upside.
I'm not. Here's the thing. I'm not saying that Jameer Gibbs is like leaps and bounds better than Bijan. What I'm saying is the Bijan Robinson pick, nobody was mad at. People were like, yeah, it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
The Jameer Gibbs pick, people acted like,
Yeah, but you're not supposed to draft a running back that high.
What is this? This no star, nobody. Like, bro, he was a star in the ACC. I can tell you. I have a podcast called Locked On ACC where I cover every team in the ACC every day of the week. I am telling you right now, if it was not for him at Georgia Tech, if it was not for him, they only won like 3 or 4 games a year when he was there. I very seriously don't know if they would have won anything beyond like playing the Island of Misfit Toys University when he was there. And I mean that. Everybody around him, they're all accountants, foot doctors, teachers, nurses. That's what his teammates are doing right now while he's playing in the NFL. So that's just the reality. But anywho, that's what we got there. Josh, do we have any more questions?
That's it for questions for the week.
Alrighty. Well, like I said, we're the pod that gets you paid. So please, if you are subscribed, ask us questions or tell us your life situations and ask for advice from us three. I promise you, you will get $1 into your bank that will be paid out at the end of every month. $1 for every question that we use on air. So, like I said, we the pod that gets you paid, man. There ain't too many other places where you could turn, we do 3-4 questions a show. If you're the only person asking questions, you can find yourself making $10, $15 a month just to ask us questions on the pod. Now, for our last one, we're going to do Am I the Asshole? Am I the asshole? My wife cheated. She got pregnant with my kid. I gave her the choice to abort and then left her because I could not get over her infidelity. I'm not going to read this whole thing because it's very long, but long story short, a man and his wife trying to have kids for years. They could not make it happen. They were considering IVF, and they didn't do it, but they said that they were going to save up to make it happen. The husband starts working really long hours and not being as attentive to his wife because he's building a small family business. And the wife starts an emotional affair with somebody else. She never had, physical relations with the other guy. But the husband said, hey, listen, you can either abort our child or we can end this relationship. And she got rid of the kid and, or she terminated the pregnancy rather. And the husband said, I can't get over the infidelity and left. Is he the asshole? And mind you, that was like one of their dreams and goals as a couple to have kids. But again, she cheated before she got pregnant. And so, that's kind of how that went. Is he the asshole, fellas?
Yes. Only for this one reason. We read over this in pre-show. Essentially, they kept going after she revealed what she did because he was like, all right, we can try to work through it, and then made that decision later that I'm gonna leave.
Right.
Either you got to stand on it, be like, I'm not going with that. You messed up the relationship. I don't trust you anymore. That's not going to work. Or if you going to give her a chance, you got to be mature enough to try to get over it. Yeah. I'm not a person that tolerates or would be okay with infidelity in a relationship. But at the same time, if I told a person, like, we're going to try to figure this out, you got to give them they just do. So, yes.
Chris, what you got?
Man, Giz, I see you over there looking at me. You don't know what's
already,
going to come
out.
Already
know you coming, Chris.
Shut up.
Don't piss me off today. It's a Sunday. It's the Lord's Day. Don't do this to me, Chris.
Hey, I'm chill. I mean, I'm a lot like Guyton. Like, right, if something happened which y'all don't agree about, either deal with it right then and there or don't talk about it no more, right? That's my rule of thumb in any relationship, anything that I do, right? If we can't get over this, then we need to either part ways or we need to just put it behind us and act like it never happened before. That's my whole way of life. So in this situation, yes, you don't even bring her back into the fold. You don't even keep beating the Doonies down if you gonna bring it up back in her face and throw it in her face, right? And now I know I've been guilty to throw stuff in people's face, but that's because I'm working on me. I'm getting better.
God ain't through with him yet, ladies and gentlemen. God ain't through with my brother Chris Allen yet. I'm going to say this. I agree. He was the asshole. If you give an ultimatum, bro, you got to honor the ultimatum. Like,
yeah.
You can't give an ultimatum with that much weight behind it and then completely go against the ultimatum which you gave. Because nobody forced you into that ultimatum. And it wasn't like, oh, well, if you terminate the pregnancy where, it's a chance that we work out and this just helps those chances. You told the woman, like, listen, you prioritize our relationship. I'm here. We good. And then you left. That's kind of lame. Tomatoes. We're throwing tomatoes at you. You're getting tomatoes from all of us. And, Shorty shouldn't have cheated though. Like, yeah, obviously. Come on, what are you doing here? Like, you missed. What are you doing on Tinder?
I was gonna say something. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and say it on the show. Why not? I was in a relationship in high school, and that relationship ended because the person I was with cheated with someone.
It wasn't me, bro. It wasn't me. Bro.
No. So that even your type. So I only say this because, like, she said she cheated emotionally because he was busy and he was on his grind doing whatever. Senior year of high school, I had a full-time job. I was doing MMA. I was doing whatever. The girl I was with cheated on me with a dude who in high school was living in a shelter. He was homeless. And she was like, he got a lot of time for me. He homeless. What else he gonna do?
Josh.
What?
Hey, Josh, go sit in the corner, bro. Go sit in the corner. That's crazy.
What else he gonna do?
What else he gonna do is insane.
How?
You're not wrong.
Of course he got more time.
Brother said it's a time to motion ratio. It's a time to motion ratio. Brother had absolutely no motion, so he had all the time. You're not wrong. You're not wrong, and I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that.
Free, bro.
Bro is as free as there is, Chris. Did you not hear him? Never mind. Now it's not the time. Now it's not the time. But what it is time for is time to celebrate our glorious King James hitting 40,000 points. And we've got the fastest 40 ever by a guy I'm pretty sure neither of you have ever heard of before this. And last but not least, we have to deal with the old heads again because there's the question of what happens if Melo goes to the Pistons, which we've discussed here lightly before, but today we're going to get a little bit more in-depth with it. Y'all ready?
Ready for it?
Sir.
All righty, well, let's do it. Now, fellas, in terms of LeBron hitting 40K, first thing first, how significant is this milestone? Like, does this change LeBron's legacy for you at all? And secondly, do you think this will ever be broken?
One, it doesn't change LeBron's legacy because I feel like his legacy is already cemented. That 40,000 just it literally looks good on paper. You know what? It does change his legacy. Because even though this is not a conversation that I like to have, you can't really have any argument in the GOAT debate.
That's fair.
Like, Jordan may have had more like accolades during this time, or he might have like he played in an era to where Mike abilities was so ahead of everybody else's that he just looked like this figure that couldn't be touched.
Right.
Well, you got somebody that got 40,000 points, something that's never been done, 10,000 assists, 10,000 rebounds, like 5,000 steals. Like, you can't argue that.
Yeah. Okay.
And do I think it's something that'll ever get touched? I mean, I want to say yes, but at the same time, we don't know how long the NBA will be here. Is the NBA something that's going to go on for another 75 years?
I would imagine so.
I would imagine so, but at the same time, there's no way for us to know. So in another 75 years, is somebody going to come along that's going to be able to do the same thing? Hell, if Wemby can stay healthy for 20 years, he came in the league at 18, 19. If he stay,
it's already too late.
If he stays healthy for 20 years, it's something that could be possible.
No, okay. All right, stop. I'm gonna cut it here because you just pissed me off. You just
Go
pissed me off.
ahead.
I'm gonna cut it here. I'm gonna cut it here. If you don't mind, Gibbs, did you
Go
just
ahead.
say if Wemby? If you just do you realize a person has to come into the league today, play 82 games for 20 seasons and average almost 25 points a game and can't miss one game to eclipse what LeBron James has done?
You also realize we playing in an era to where people are teams averaging 150 points a game.
But gang, you not hearing me. They can't miss a game for 20 seasons and have to average 25
I
a
hear
game.
you. I'm not going to say it's something that's
himself
impossible.
hasn't
The
even-
NBA could be around for another 75 years.
Listen. LeBron himself hasn't even been able to play every game 82 years. He only did it twice, I think. Once his whole career, because it was lockout season. Once his whole career, he's been able to play every game. The only reason why LeBron got there so fast is because he averages a significant amount more than 25 points a game on a regular basis. 28 points, 29 points a game, and one season almost 30 points a game. Yeah. So that's why he got there faster with missing games. So you realize that you have to put a body of work together where you're healthy, number one, and the more they speed the game up, the less you're going to be healthy every game.
True.
Also, the other point you have to put into perspective is that you have to go get buckets with all type of defenses. You're going to be the focal point of every defense known to man.
I understand it, and I'm not saying it's a record that could possibly never be touched, but at the same time, if the NBA around for another 75 years, it's possible somebody could touch that record. It's very, very, very hard.
Here's the thing. I think it may possibly get touched. Wemby did show his hell ain't doing it. Wemby is not doing it.
But before you piss me off, this is my point, right? This is my point. The only way this record can get touched, right, is if the rules keep changing, right? You can't predict the rules keep changing, right? If they make a 20-second shot clock.
The rules back to defense.
Right.
Apparently,
they swinging the rules back to defense. But, like, for example, if they did a 16-second shot clock instead of a 24-second shot clock, you're going to get a lot more touches, a lot more possessions per game, a lot more scoring opportunities per game, right? Where you got to come down, score really fast, get back on defense, right? So things like that could impact the game as far as pace. But even still then, that means that you got to be real efficient because you're not going to get many second chance points. You're not going to get many offensive rebounds. It's going to be a really pace and space game. And then if you got somebody that can really sit in that chair, like I forgot the brother from last night that for Denver that was really sitting in the chair. He's starting for KCP. Watson, I think his name is. He could sit in that chair, right? Lou Dort back in the day, when 2019, 2020, he could sit in the chair, right? Though, if you got a guy like that on the floor that could sit in the chair, then it's going to be even harder with 16-second shot clock because now you ain't got time to ISO him, tire him out, rock him to sleep. You got to go get it and score. Yeah. So, if the rules keep bending in the favor of offense, which they're pivoting to defense right now, but once that gets overworked, they're going to pivot back to offense, then yeah, I can see it happening. The person that was the closest was Luka Doncic, who came into the league averaging over 20 a game in his first season. And he has enough shot attempts where he could have. But you think Luka going to play 20 years? No. Luka's already had several injuries that have put him on the bench multiple seasons.
And he's already, like, with all due respect, people don't realize, like, us as, like, ball knowers can recognize, oh, boy, LeBron is slowing down. But, like, LeBron athletically, even while slowing down, is still better than, like, 75, 80% of the league. Luka's
I would say even more.
I'll say he's still in the top 95 percentile for athleticism.
Either way it goes, Luka athletically, like, sheer how fast he is, how high he can, like, sheer, hey, it doesn't matter how well you know the game or how savvy or how much of all the things you have to be able to physically produce. He's not going to be there at year 20. He won't. Like, we'll get to see what a real time, like, Larry Bird with the tight back look like. You know, we'll get to see that. He's not going to be playing at a level. Like, Bron is so good still. If somebody was to tell y'all next year Bron is finishing second in MVP vote, nor even winning an MVP, would y'all be shocked?
No, that'll be based on the Lakers' performance as a team, just because that's how the award works. But off his individual stats, yeah.
And that would be year what, 22 for Bron?
Yep.
Yeah.
You think that Luka in year 22, people will be looking at him like,
Luka at year 6 or 7 right now, he still ain't won an MVP. I mean, this is like the prime of his life right now.
I mean, at the same time, LeBron didn't win an MVP until what, year 6, right?
He was in the top 5 voting after his second season though. Like,
I mean, Luka been top 5 almost every year he's been in the league.
But here's my thing. Again, Luka is not physically capable. He's just not there. His ability is the ability to change speeds and all that, and like, hey, I know how to work angle. It's only so much angle working, changing speed, all that you can do before you just got what you got. You physically have the limitations you have. And that's it. And I don't think he's going to be there in year 13, 14, 15 to where we still talking about it. Let alone, like Chris said, 20. Year 18, 19, 20. Come on, man.
I don't even think Luka going to play that long.
That's what I'm saying. He's going to be chilling in Monaco. He's going to be chilling at them Formula One races.
Am I going to say it's never going to get touched? No, but the person that is going to do it is probably in second grade right now if they alive.
Yeah,
we ain't seen it in our lifetime.
I'll tell you, I thought that if I had to guess the player that would come the closest or could do it right now that's in the league, I'd probably guess Ant-Man before anybody else. Because I think...
Nah, it's already too late, bro. He 3 seasons in.
Hear me out. This is the only reason I would say Ant-Man is the only one. Because he's young enough and athletic enough to where you can see his game changing over time and he won't get physically left behind. Like,
but he will. He what 6'3", 6'4" though. When you start to get older, when you start to get older, that size, especially if like the only person that could pull off being that size and still being that efficient at that age, it's like Steph because he can shoot that deadly with the ball. The way Anthony Edwards playing, you can't sustain that for the next decade.
But that's my point. I could see him changing his game to adapt and move forward, and he still athletically wouldn't be that much of a negative on defense to where like he's unplayable. Like
nah. I think Shea got a better chance than Ant.
Really?
Yeah, just because of Ant's size, like I can't really think of a bag that somebody that size can get off at 35 years old that's going to work.
I mean,
I would say Shea just because he already averaging 30 right now for the last 2 seasons. I don't see him slowing down for the next 5. He averaged 5. He going to close the gap a lot. Average for 5 straight seasons, averaging 30. But even that, he's still going to miss games. He still got to play like every game of the season. And I just... he got to stay with a team that's well enough to play meaningful basketball where they don't shut him down. You know, a lot of things went to Brian's favor, and him being Brian kind of helped out, right? He always played meaningful basketball in the regular season and postseason. He also was able to make 8 straight finals and still come play the next season 28 points a game. I don't see nobody able to do that if you winning championships, right? You got to be on a winning team to do this as well. Like, that's a factor in this.
Spent $1 million on his body a year. Boy.
I still don't understand that because if you like Anthony Davis, you see him do that and you just like, I see you next season. Like, I don't understand how that works.
My pops even said, my pops had a good analogy, bro. He was like, bro, we playing pee-wee basketball. And if man said he running the track after practice, we all like, we should be running the track with bro. He like, how does Anthony Davis see LeBron doing this? Live down the street from him in the same city as him. And every time Brian working out, he ain't trying to get in there with him. Like, I'll never get that.
Y'all heard that, man. He said, I won a championship. I have nothing to prove to anybody. Y'all heard him. He meant it. He's standing on business. That's all that is. He knee deep in it. He said, I don't got to prove nothing to nobody. I'll show up and I won't. All this GOAT debate, all that. I ain't in none of that. I'm in. I got a championship. I was really good at one point in time. They named me top 75 over Dwight because Dwight out here being a freaky frog trying to take something. I'm good. I'm happy. I need all I need to get. And that's, you know, it's a sin and a shame, I tell you. It's a sin and a shame. But another thing that's a sin and a shame, and talking about the pace of play and all that, the NFL has increased its pace of play a lot. And we just saw the fastest 40 time ever recorded at the NFL Combine by Texas receiver Xavier Worthy, running a 4.21 at, mind you, most guys who run extremely fast 40s, they're very, very short. But Xavier Worthy, nah, not him. That young man is 6'4", 205. So I'm sorry, 6'1", 205 was what he was listed at. So, or do y'all think that, I'm sorry, 6'1", 172. I apologize. I gave y'all the wrong profile there. I was thinking of Keon Coleman on the brain. But anyway, 6'1", 172. Do y'all think that 40 times have lost their value?
I don't think so. Because even though a lot of times these fast 40 times have been attached to players who don't necessarily amount to being an elite player in the NFL, because it takes a lot more skill than that, a 40 time is still a 40 time.
Right.
If they went out there in a track and field competition and ran that time, we would be amazed. A 40 time is still a 40 time. So just because it's attached to players that don't necessarily pan out doesn't devalue it. But what I will say is, I think that the way that the combine is ran is flawed. because a lot of stock is put into these physical drills, the 40, the 3-cone, which the 3-cone I can see as far as like agility goes, the bench press, which is something that doesn't necessarily translate to every position. But I think it's too focused on the physical attributes and not focused enough on the fact that are you able to play football? Like a guy could go out there and have some good physical performance and not have good hands. And just because they see the speed, they're like, we'll put him out there and we'll give him a chance.
Quentin Johnson.
So I don't think that has lost its value, but at the same time, I do think it's overvalued.
They making memes about Quentin Johnson mom going back to work, and that's the meanest thing I've ever seen in my life. Because y'all know when he got drafted, what he said at his draft party was, "My mom is putting in her 2-week notice. She's officially retired." And after the disappointing start he got off to with the Chargers, many are saying she needs to get ready to clock back in. Very nasty people on the internet. Very nasty. I strongly disagree. And again, y'all don't understand the chasm that exists between like an NFL first-round pick and the average person in terms of money that you make. His mama really don't got to work again. She's done. She's done regardless of if he gets a second contract or not. So just a thought there. But anywho, Chris, are 40 times becoming overvalued?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think the whole combine is. If I be 100% honest with y'all, like,
really?
I feel like the stars in the combine, they going on like. I don't know if y'all seen it, but Caleb Williams' demeanor in the combine, he was like, "People saw me for the last few seasons. What do I need to throw the ball for?" Yeah. You very much know whatever team drafted him, called him, was like, "Look, bro, you don't have to do nothing in the combine. We drafted you, right?" When stuff like that start being prevalent, in my head, you lost the value of the combine. Like, it's no, like, what can you really motivate me to do? You can't even motivate me to play in my last bowl game, and you telling me go into this combine with everybody else that's already in the same draft that I am, that played in the same league that I played in. I'm about to try to persuade you to draft me when I got 3 years of film behind me. I think at some point the combine is gonna be just the activity, just get players' name out there, like players that you never heard of. Like, for example, J.J. McCarthy just won a national championship, and he didn't even participate in half the drills. They saying he could be the 3rd or 4th quarterback picked in this draft now.
Just crazy.
He didn't even do anything in the combine. So you telling me that the combine
got a free
matters?
trip to Indianapolis. Bro just got an NFL sponsorship to Indy. That's it.
You know what I'm saying? I just don't think that anything's gonna come out of this predicament.
I mean this with my whole heart and soul. Not only is the 40 becoming overrated, because the game is so much faster now. For example, the fastest linebacker, who just so happened to go to the same school as me, you know what I mean? Shout out to Peyton Wilson of NC State.
Wolfpack.
Yeah, go Pack. He ran a 4.44. He is 6'3", about 230. Now, here's the thing that I find so interesting about that. The thing is, I was told, like I told y'all, I run other podcasts where I talk either ACC football or NC State football every day of the week. So I'm plugged in with the draft analysts and all that. I've talked to multiple draft analysts. For 3 years now, I've been talking to them about Peyton Wilson. And what I heard was, the book is out on Peyton Wilson. For those of you who don't know, he won every award a linebacker can possibly win except one, which was given to a guy named Xavier Watts, which many people from Xavier Watts' own school were like, we're not sure. We're not sure if he deserved that award, but that's neither here nor there. So the tape was, or the thought was, the only thing that's stopping Peyton from being a first-round pick is his injury history. He had a torn ACL in high school. He rested out a year in college. He had a torn shoulder in college that took him a year off. And he had multiple nagging injuries here and there in between. He ran that 4.44, and all of a sudden he shot up from 3rd to 4th round pick to people saying he'll go early 2nd. What the hell are y'all doing, GMs? He's the same guy. You saw what he is. Like, y'all saw him run down receivers in college. Why are we now looking up and saying, he ran a little faster than we thought without pads on? He ran that exact same time with Coach Thunder and the strength staff at NC State last summer. He's not a different guy. So, like, how the 40 times are affecting people's pockets like this, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. I don't think, again, you play football in pads. You play football in shoulder pads and helmets, and it's going to get real violent. It's going to get real physical. And you also need to be able to be a tactician in the midst of that violence and physicality. So, I personally don't see the whole, we need to do this and do that and the 40 and the 3-cone and all that, make a whole different player. You saw them on tape. You saw how quick they look on tape. You saw how strong they look on tape. Like, what are we doing?
Let me say this, bro. This just shows the era that we living in right now, bro. Every time somebody complain about something, it's breaking news. We got to change this to cater to the audience. We got to change. I'm so tired of this soft culture, bro. Now we changing the rules in NBA to cater to the offense. Now we gotta go look at the defense because they complain about the defense now. You cannot win with this whiny old social media.
Well,
century.
We were talking about this before we got on there. It's too much criminalizing the kids, and that's why we back in the day, back when we were in school, if you was
back in my day,
you got punched in the face. You know what I mean? Like, all of us have been in the middle of a roast session where somebody was getting toe up so bad, they was just like, "Hey, bro, cool out, I'm gonna start swinging." And guess what? At that point in time, the person who was doing the roasting, you basically got to put your hands up and get ready because the whole class vibes is dependent on you roasting this other dude now. So if you stop, you look like every type of hoe. You look like every type of hoe. He told you to shut up and now you shut up. And if you keep going, you know that the hands, you got to put them up. And you get yourself a little 3-day suspension and come back to school like it was nothing. My sister called me the other day talking about they about to expel your nephew. I said, what did he do? What did he light on fire? Did he stab somebody? What happened? She said, no, somebody was bullying his best friend and he hit the kid. And they said he started the physical altercation. So every option is on the table because they got a zero tolerance policy for physical violence.
I done got stole on twice for cooking somebody.
Let me tell you.
That's because Guy didn't know how to stop back in the day. Guy analogies was like an old head back in the day. He'd be like, man, I remember, I forgot what I said to him about Bron. He said, man, LeBron cried his whole way to that championship or something. I was happy when the Heat came back and won that championship. I was like, yeah, let's go. Guy ruined my whole day talking about Brian cried his way to another.
I did used to go a little bit overboard when it came to. I used to be a little bit overboard.
Let me tell you something. It's too many people that like, oh, they're gonna take you to jail if you hit somebody in the face. Nah, man, let these kids be kids. Let these kids, you win some and you lose some, but you live to fight another day. You didn't need guns because you had these. You had these. Man. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. R.I.P. John Witherspoon, but it's crazy the way we sitting up here. And again, it's just not enough people getting punched in the face, so people not used to having to like adjust and adapt on the fly. Like, hey, everything ain't gonna go your way. You know what I mean? Like, because the reality is, if somebody beat you up, even when they came back from suspension, or if you beat somebody up, even when you came back from suspension, that person still wasn't gonna be talking crazy to you no more.
Yeah.
They still. Hey, you good, bro? I'm sorry about that. We good. And that was that. You know what I mean? But now everything got to be adjusted 24/7 to make people comfortable. You know what I mean? Bring back left hooks. All right? Bring it back. Bring back that jab, hook, uppercut combo. Bring back
that. Let's go 30 real quick and then everybody vacate the premises.
Hey now. Bring it back. All I'm trying to do is bring those times back. That's what we need more than anything else. You know what I mean? We need to make a song. What the world needs now is hands, sweet hands. That's all they need. But anyway, the last thing, since we getting in our old head bag, we got to talk about what the old heads are once again discussing in Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce and all that. The discussion was, if the Pistons draft Melo instead of Darko Milicic, Melo becomes Bron and Bron is no longer Bron.
I get a backstory. I get it. Yeah, I get a backstory. So basically, it was the All the Smoke podcast. It was Steven Jackson, Matt Barnes, Chauncey Billups. They had a roundtable discussion, right? So Chauncey was going on the limb saying, back then people was talking about us not having a superstar and all that, but we just
hold on. Wait a minute. Before we get further into this, did Caesar just say he farted in class and somebody was roasting him, so he had to smack bro to get the heat off? That's what we're here for. That's what we need to bring back. Because guess what? Next time that young person smells a fart in public, you know what they're not going to
say
do?
Nothing.
Hey, bro.
You ain't going to say nothing.
Because he got PTSD from knowing you call that fart out, and your jaw going to get called out subsequently. But proceed, Chris. Proceed.
Yeah, so Chauncey said people give him a lot of criticism for not having a superstar, right? Yeah. And he was like, we was just a well put together team, well disciplined, everybody respect that championship the Pistons won back in 2004, right?
For sure.
So here's the thing, right? Chauncey said if Melo played with us, he would be groomed differently, right? He, for one, would be more disciplined. It wasn't no shooting 25 shots a game with us. Like, he was going to have to play in the system. He was going to have to play with teammates. Going to have to learn how to pass the ball, right? And then he said, also, when would LeBron be able to take the keys? Because we started getting old and we didn't have that.
In 2007, the same year that he took the keys in real life.
Really?
I hear you. But he said, when would he have the chance? Because rookie year, Melo and Brown was neck and neck. That's what this is Chauncey. This is what Chauncey said. Rookie year, Melo and Brown was neck and neck. So if we add Melo to our team, that's essentially when LeBron really gonna be able to knock us out fully. When LeBron really gonna be able to, he gonna have to go to Miami earlier. Basically, what he was saying.
They were neck and neck offensively his rookie year. That's
so
we get into it now. But
So here. LeBron took the mantle from the Pistons in 2007, right? And what was the reason he did that?
Well, because he put up like what, 20 straight?
It was no defense. Yeah. Chauncey and Rip can't check LeBron. Rasheed can't check LeBron. Tayshaun tried, but he 180 pounds soaking wet. And Ben Wallace went to Chicago, so it was no interior defense. All he had to worry about in the paint was Rasheed Wallace, a 45-year-old Antonio McDyess, and Jason Maxiell.
Jason Maxiell, what a legend. What a legend.
So you mean to tell me that a Carmelo who don't play defense was going to be able to stop LeBron?
But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Because, like, it's the old theory of the horseshoe in the war. Like, if the horseshoe maker doesn't make the shoe, the horse can't ride, the horse can't deliver the message, the horse can't deliver the message, you don't fortify the East. You don't fortify the East, you lose the war. Boom. The horseshoe led to the war being lost. If I'm one of those people, I'm a Carmelo Anthony truther. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I think what happened with Carmelo Anthony was he got with a guy who didn't know how to coach discipline in George Karl. We all know about George Karl at this point, right?
Yeah.
Like, we all are wondering, where were you on January 6th, George Karl? Where were you? We need your exact whereabouts. We need to know exactly what you were doing. That guy was not going to instill discipline and, like, that work ethic in Carmelo Anthony. And I get it. There's the argument that work ethic is intrinsic. And, like, you hear Carmelo talking about the Olympic team. And he's like, man, I'm not waking up at 5 a.m. with them. That's too early. I'm not doing that. And it's like, a little suspect. A little, But if you really look at that team, do you think they get rid of Ben Wallace? If Carmelo is
They didn't get rid of Ben Wallace. Ben Wallace left.
That's what I'm saying. Do you think they get...
Ben Wallace left for bread. He didn't leave because he thought the Pistons was getting too old. He didn't leave. He wanted a max contract, and Chicago was the only team that was going to offer him that.
And do you think that the Pistons are not more willing to dip into the luxury tax if you virtually guarantee yourself a continued dynasty run with Carmelo Anthony and him behind him in that mold?
No, and the reason being, the year after that, you have to renew Chauncey's contract, and Carmelo's rookie contract is going to be up the season after. So you wouldn't be able to keep all three of those players regardless.
The cap was a lot lower back then, Gibbs.
That's fair. But if you could keep them for that extra year, that's a team that LeBron... He's not putting up.
You can't keep him for that extra year, regardless. You're going to have to get rid of one of those other players the year after. So you're getting rid of Chauncey, which the Pistons not winning a thing without Chauncey, or you not re-signing Melo out of his rookie contract.
And even
the
still,
Spurs won in 05, right?
Yes.
Okay, then they won again in 07. We know who did 06. Yeah.
Even still, without the defense, they still needed a Herculean effort from Bron. And the Pistons didn't have nobody you could roll the ball out to who could also go down and get a bucket. Even if you say Ben Wallace is gone and that series
was it a Herculean effort? I thought the Cavs beat them in 5.
Wait, no, I'm talking about the series where Bron had to he literally had to score 20 straight to stave off, and he took them to overtime and had to stave off. All right,
how many games did that series go?
I thought that series went 6. Didn't it go?
It went 6. He stopped the game 7.
Yeah, so, but do you see what I'm saying here? In that series, yes, the Cavs won. That was not a series where they were so much better. It's all right, Tayshaun Prince was not that good defensively to where if you factor in Melo's offense as opposed to his defense, it's a wash. He was not that good, bro.
Okay, all right. Let me chime in here now, Gid, because I see what you're doing. And I'm not mad at you for doing it, but I think you missing the... You putting scenarios together. We can what if forever, right? I'm gonna go back to the drawing board with the facts and the acts, right? You cannot change Carmelo's play style. Carmelo been playing like that since he picked up a basketball. I don't care what Chauncey Billups saying.
But it's not just Chauncey. If he got in that team, everybody in that locker room is the same way from Larry Brown down.
But my thing is, I'm trying to figure out who is this player that played that way coming into the league, and it was like, you know what? I'm gonna just all of a sudden becoming this lockdown defender. Nobody.
What I'm saying
I'm not saying that he was gonna become a lockdown defender. That's never been my argument for Carmelo. I never said Carmelo, if he went to the Pistons, would be a lockdown defender. What I'm saying is he would take better shots. He would be more efficient, and he would at least give effort defensively. He didn't have to on the Nuggets because he's like, I'm the leading scorer. I'm the guy. What are y'all going to tell me?
So if you take Carmelo and you make him more disciplined, you have him take better shots, you put him in this system, is he Carmelo?
That's what I'm saying, Gibbs.
He's a better version of Carmelo. What are we doing?
No. Guy. What I'm saying is, if Melo is in the Pistons uniform, right? Melo still gonna hoop like Melo. Ain't nothing Chauncey, the coach, all them vets gonna do to make Melo stop hooping like Melo. Melo's still gonna go out there and jack shot. Melo's still gonna go out there and hold the ball.
I don't think it would have been easy or a guarantee because I'm never gonna be crazy enough to ignore the possibility that we do get the exact same Melo just in Detroit. Never gonna be crazy enough to ignore that possibility. What I'm saying is, chances are he becomes that better version of him because everybody else in that area is like, dude, we are on the cusp. We need you to be the piece that takes us over the edge.
And guess what, Gibbs? It's a reason why Melo coming off a national championship didn't go number 1, right?
Because the greatest player of all time.
Exactly my point. Melo was never in discussion because LeBron was that good. What I'm saying is, Melo gonna be the same Melo at Pistons versus Nuggets, Bucks, wherever he went.
Melo was not a normal number 2 pick. He was not what we think of right now in a Victor Wembanyama draft where it was Vic, a Gap, everybody else. He was not that. In almost every other draft, if you put Melo in that draft, he's going number 1.
I agree, Gibbs. I agree. But what I'm saying to you is, no matter where you put Melo, Melo is going to be Melo. Bron is going to be Bron. I don't know why just putting him in a different uniform. My whole premise is putting him in a different uniform does not make him a different player. Putting him in a different uniform might give him more success as a team, but he's not going to be a different player. Melo's still going to shoot his 25 shots a game. He's still going to be a ball stopper, and he's still not going to give no effort on defense. I don't care what nobody say. Him being there, Bron being in Cleveland, it don't matter where they get drafted at. It don't matter what happens. They're going to careers will play out almost similar, if not the same, to me.
Hey, listen. I hear you. I feel you knocking. I very strongly disagree. I think if Melo gets drafted to Detroit, LeBron still goes down as the GOAT. He still goes and does all the things and all that. I'm not disagreeing there. LeBron still, I think, outlives him in terms of longevity, has more to all that stuff, sure. But the reality is the biggest concern with the Pistons is addressed by Carmelo's Anthony existence on that team. Like that's not something that anybody can really refute or like have a question about. And I don't think that, again, if we're talking about, even if we say Carmelo doesn't change a lick, again, are you going to tell me that Tayshaun Prince's defense was that valuable to where it was as, if not more valuable than what Carmelo was bringing offensively?
Tayshaun don't get as many minutes.
No way.
Tayshaun don't get as many minutes for sure. Tayshaun don't get as many minutes for sure.
No, but it's not just about Tayshaun. What I'm saying is, if you think about the team the Pistons were, and if you're replacing the value of Tayshaun Prince with the value of Carmelo Anthony, that team is exponentially better. That's not
okay.
But that also changes the identity of the team.
Yeah.
It does. It changes the identity, but guess what? See, and this is what we mean. This is what I mean here. When people talk about Carmelo Anthony, either we going to do the full ripple effect or we going to do the one for one. You can't say Carmelo is Carmelo and that's it, while also saying, well, the Pistons completely change around him, even though he has to stay the perfect version of him, but the Pistons, they can't stay them with him there. That's not fair.
No. I don't think that's what Guy's saying. I don't think that's what Guy's saying. So here's the other thing, Gibbs. Now, I agree with you to some degree, right? This is what will work in the Pistons' favor, to your point, right? They could have been a team before their time if they drafted Melo, right? Because remember, they whole was a power forward, and they also, because they knew they weren't going to be able to pay Bean and Rasheed when they brought Rasheed over, and Chauncey and whatever rookie they got, right? They knew they weren't going to be able to pay that. They could have been one of the teams that started small ball first by sliding Rasheed to the 5, Tayshaun to the 4, and Melo at the 3. Now, that being said, I think the Pistons changed their DNA to be still a defensive team, still a good team, but Melo be the focal point of scoring. And I think they have more success because that's the team before that era. Remember that era of basketball, Ziggy Ilgauskas was an all-star, right?
Yeah, 2-time all-star.
I was about to say multiple, too. It wasn't like
Exactly. So you eliminate the fact that they don't have a true center in that lineup anymore. I think the Pistons could squeeze out one more ring. I think the Pistons could swing out one more ring. I think they come back in 05 and they beat the Spurs.
And here's my only thing that I would say, right? If you go one for one in terms of, if you want to go one for one, because that's the cleanest way to do it. If you get one for one, Carmelo in over, whoever, right? Darko Milicic was like literally a net negative to that team. He was a drag on that team. Every time you saw him on the court, it was like, you know how we joke about why the fuck Batum, man? No, Darko Milicic was really that. Like, you really were screaming, bro, why is Darko
They used to call him the human victory cigar.
Like that, bro. You know you terrible when, like, literally, if he was in the game and it wasn't over yet, people were screaming, just put Mehmet Okur in. Please. Just put Mehmet in, bro.
Put like, Zellicoe in.
Anybody but this guy. And so, with that in mind, to me, you add Melo to that team. I'm not saying that they would go on to become the Spurs, where it's like 6 championships or 4 or 5 championships over a long period of time.
I think they went 2
to 3. I think they went 2 to 3.
I think they went 2.
And to me, I think that we're vastly underestimating what 2 to 3 championships does to Carmelo's Anthony. Even 2. Even if we just say 1. Even if he just had the 1. What that 1 does to his legacy.
I mean, he's a Hall of Famer without him now. I mean,
he's a Hall of Famer without him.
If he got 2 rings, I think Carmelo would actually be in the top 25 easily.
He'd be higher than that.
I think he'd be seen as a top 15 to 10 guy. If he had 2,
top 10. You got to think Melo already top 10 all time scoring.
Okay,
I know, but if you looking at accolades for full career, 2 rings, you ain't even getting in the top 10. Everybody in the top 10 got way more than 2 rings.
Hold on,
way more.
You get 2, and you get both Finals MVPs, and again, this is Carmelo. So whatever he do, he gonna get his numbers.
Yeah.
So
would y'all say Melo would be over not Scotty? Would y'all say Melo would be over Larry Bird? That would be the argument. He would have to get over Larry Bird.
With 2? And
I don't think he get over Larry Bird.
So with 2, I don't think he beats Larry.
That would be who he gets in for.
With 3, yes. With 3, yes.
With 3, yes.
Three Finals MVPs.
2, no. 2, I don't think
no. Yeah, now you're not getting in because Larry got 3 rings?
Yeah,
Larry got 3.
No, Larry got 4, don't he?
No, 3. 80, 81, 84, 86.
Yeah.
If he had 2 to 3, I think that I think he's like
Larry's his argument.
3?
He would have to take Larry out because LeBron puts Larry down.
3, there's no argument between him.
Yeah,
3
yeah,
tips. You don't need.
Honestly, if he went to the Pistons 1-2, I think he makes a better decision when he leaves Detroit.
And watch this.
Yeah.
How many years did the Pistons make the Eastern Conference Finals straight?
I think it was 4. It was 4 straight, right?
5.
Oh,
It was more than that.
No, it was 6. It was
Yeah, 02 to 08. Yeah, 02 to 08.
6. They made it 6 years straight. Now you're telling me with a straight face that the Pistons don't just mess around and win just a couple of those? Stop.
Yeah.
Stop it. With
I'm
Carmelo,
saying I told you they
could
could win 2 of them. Yeah,
Because
I told you they could win 2.
02 they
And
went
again-
against what? New
and
Jersey?
again, I think the old heads were bugging and saying like, "Oh, this team, LeBron ain't LeBron no more." Stop it. You're doing crack.
Yeah, they was
But-
basically saying they don't know when LeBron's gonna take over the torch, right? I don't agree with that.
Now, here's the thing. I also agree that does move LeBron's timeline back. It does. Because of how
I don't
poorly-
think so.
And this isn't a reflection of LeBron. This is a reflection of how poorly the Cavs were run. The Cavs were run so poorly, I know for a fact there's no way that they were coming up with enough to get that team over the hump when they just
But at the same time,
07,
Bron didn't
like-
win his first ring until 2011. He could still go to Miami and win that ring, regardless.
Yeah, I agree, but I'm saying in terms of, like, we all knew LeBron was the best player in the world at about 07, 08. Like, I don't think anybody was, like, having serious arguments. Well, let me not say that.
2010, bro.
I was about to say, let me not say that because Kobe was still.
Bron went better than Kobe in 07. Let's cut it out.
That's what I said. That's what I said.
All right.
Can I correct myself?
Don't get me started.
What I'm saying is
That Bron hate came up quick. Nigga. That Bron hate
Hey, don't get me started.
But in all seriousness,
Oh my God. Sorry,
I
Kyrie
think
just hit the nastiest lay.
I think we can end it right here. I think that if we're just talking in the East, I think it does push back LeBron's timeline to take that throne just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Hold
I
on,
think
hold on,
by
hold on.
a year or two, it gets pushed back.
The argument would have to be, so the reason why I say the argument would have to be this. If Wade doesn't win that title 06 and the Pistons do, I think it does push it back. Because Bron doesn't look at that team like, okay, I'm going to go learn how to build a championship.
Exactly.
So
Yeah,
if
true.
Wade win that ring of 06, though, because I don't think the Pistons beat Wade even with Carmelo. The way Wade was hooping in that
You
playoff,
out your
the
mind.
way Wade,
You out your
No,
mind.
no.
the way Wade hooped in that playoffs,
Bro, Wade didn't really ball like that until the finals.
He was not getting off against Rip. Rip was one of the best.
Yeah,
defensive
bro,
two guards
yeah,
in the league.
bro.
Rip was sitting. Rip
No,
was
bro,
sitting.
go back and watch that series, bro. Rip had D Wade clamped up.
Thank you.
The Heat was shooting like 30 free throws a game.
He had D Wade in hell. He had that young man in
Bro,
Amsterdam.
Joey Crawford literally pushed Chauncey out of bounds, and Joey Crawford pushed I think it was Eddie Jones out of bounds and called the foul on Chauncey. That's how crazy that officiating was, bro.
Bro,
I agree with
and
y'all.
again-
It was
and
crazy
again,
series.
And watch
but-
this. If you have a Carmelo in Detroit, you can't make calls like that and get away with it. You can't. When we
Yeah.
see teams get robbed like that, it's because they never have like a superstar. When the Kings got robbed against the Lakers, when the Lakers shot, what was it, 25 free throws in the fourth quarter,
Yep.
something like that, who was their biggest star?
C Webb.
How high would you put C Webb on the all-time list?
Maybe top 50.
Maybe.
Maybe top 50.
And we know where Melo sits right now, where he sits right now. We look at those two players as if they're different calibers of player, right?
Actually, C Webb not even. Is he even a top 75 player right now? Did he make the top 75?
Did he? Did Chris Webber? Josh, can you look that up for us?
I don't think so.
Okay. And the Pistons, same thing. The Pistons at that time did not have a single player make the top. Wait, did Ben Wallace make it? I think he was the only one that might have. If it wasn't him, if he didn't make it, nobody.
I don't think Ben Wallace made it.
Let me
you
check.
see my
Let me
point?
check.
So you see my point here. If Melo is on that team, you're not doing the Pistons how they
No Chris Webber. No Chris Webber.
So no Chris Webber and none
No
of those
Ben Wallace.
And I know none of the Pistons made it because they said that the Pistons were the only two teams in the NBA to like win multiple championships with only one player on the top 75 of all time, and that was Isaiah Thomas, I believe. That was it. He was the only one.
Yeah.
So with that being said, all I'm saying is this, bro. You can't tell me with a straight face Carmelo Anthony being on the Pistons does not completely change everything that happened at that time.
I think it keep LeBron in Cleveland for one more extension, but I think Brian eventually found a way to do it in Cleveland. I think he eventually found a way.
Again, I think that we're disrespecting how poorly that franchise was run.
No. I agree.
That man said, "Get me some help." They said the best we can do for you is a 35-year-old Antoine Jameson.
I agree with you, Gibbs, but what I'm saying is I think people go to him at that point. I think he started orchestrating, all right, come to me, because I done been to the finals. Like, Wade might have came that way. Even though Wade, his story's in Miami right now. Maybe Wade said, all right, we're going to team up there. Maybe Boss said, all right, we're going to go to Cleveland, right? I think something like that happened. But I don't think I think it can delay him going to Miami.
And watch this. Let's get real crazy here. If Melo won a championship and all the players on the Pistons are expensive and aging, why wouldn't the stars come to Melo? Think about that for a second.
I mean, because Detroit and Cleveland, that's two things that's variables, right? They both are hard free agent destination. It got to be a real special bond to get them to go there. That's why I'm saying they would go to Cleveland because Bond and Wade had the bond.
I agree. I agree they had the bond, but you know what beats up the bond every time? That ring. That ring will make hey, like Young Nudie said, look what that money make them do. Look what that ring will make them do. I'm telling you, I'm just saying, if that team drafts Melo instead of Darko Milicic, I'm not saying they go on the Warriors run, but I'm saying the course of the NBA has changed forever, and Melo is like forever regarded as a top, at worst, 15 player. At absolute worst. That's just my opinion on it. But anywho, I know y'all tired of us talking about the Water Tribe and how much better they are than everybody else. And Carmelo Anthony. And what if we could go back in the fast like Barry Allen and make sure that Melo gets drafted instead of Darko? But come on back next week and the week after that and the week after that. Don't forget, folks, this is the pod that gets you paid. So submit the things you want advice on. If you are subbed, we will pay you. Peace and love, y'all.